Have you ever tried coloring your hair at home? You're in the bathroom, maybe things get a bit messy, drips everywhere, and you're just wishing you could get that smooth, even salon look, but without the salon price. Or maybe you've seen some DIY beauty trend blow up online and thought, is that just hype? Or is there like a real market behind it? Today, we're going deep on something maybe you haven't thought much about: the global market for foam hair dye.
That's right. And for this deep dive, we're using a really detailed market research report as our main source. It gives an incredible view. Our mission here is basically to pull out the key trends, understand the growth patterns, and really uncover some maybe surprising insights about how this market is evolving, especially looking at its global reach and what's driving consumers.
Exactly. And this isn't just about, a bottle on your shelf. It actually tells us a lot about bigger shifts. Shifts in how people behave as consumers, and also about product innovation around the world. By the end of this, you'll have a surprisingly clear picture of a market that's, well, actually full of fascinating details. So let's get into it.
Yep.
Okay, let's kick things off with the headline figures, the big picture. Globally, this foam hair dye market is showing some pretty impressive growth. The report states that back in 2021, it pulled in over, $1.76 billion. And looking ahead, by 2025, it's projected to hit over $2.2 billion. But here's the really interesting part. Fast forward to 2033, and we're looking at a market potentially worth over $3.5 billion.
Wow.
Yeah, that works out to a global compound annual growth rate, the CAGR, of almost 6%, nearly 6%. That really suggests some rapid expansion for what, maybe started as a bit of a niche product.
It does. And what's really fascinating is that this growth isn't just random. It's really being driven by consumers.
Yeah.
There's this rising interest in products that are easy to apply at home, but still give you that kind of salon-like result.
Yeah.
You connect that to broader trends, right? People want professional results without maybe the time or the cost of going to a salon.
Makes sense.
And a huge factor here is the innovation in the products themselves. These non-drip foam formulations, they're just much easier to handle. They spread evenly, less mess. It makes the whole at-home process safer, more convenient. It directly solves those common problems people had with the older liquid dyes.
Right, the dripping, the patchiness,
Yeah.
that convenience angle really hits home. So we've got the strong global growth. Now, let's kind of zoom in. How does this play out region by region? Where are the hotspots? Let's maybe start with North America. The report says it's a pretty significant chunk of the market, growing from about $705 million back in 2021, projected to reach around $1.35 billion by 2033. That's a solid CAGR too, about 5.5%.
Yeah, solid is a good word for it. And if you drill down into North America, the U.S. is, unsurprisingly, the giant share of that, projected to go from roughly $564 million up to over $1 billion by 2033. But interestingly, look at Canada. Its individual growth rate, the TAGR, is actually a bit stronger, almost 6.6%. It's projected to grow from about $90 million to nearly $188 million, suggests maybe a particularly strong uptake there.
Interesting nuance.
Yeah. And Mexico's on a solid path, too, looking at over $104 million by 2033, with a TAGR around 6%. So the takeaway for North America, I think, is even in these mature markets, that demand for convenient, effective home beauty solutions, it's still driving really substantial ongoing growth. People are fitting these products into their lives.
Okay, let's hop across the Atlantic. Europe, also an expanding market here, right? Sales projected to go from around $509 million in 2021 to almost $1 billion by 2033. That's growing at about 5.6% CAGR. And the report mentions Germany and France as key players.
Definitely key players. France, actually, shows really robust growth. Its CAGR is over 6.3%, so its market is set to more than double, from about $69 million to over $144 million. Italy's also strong, around 6% CAGR. But here's a contrast the source points out. Some other countries, like Sweden, Denmark, Switzerland, they show slower growth rates below 4%.
Okay, so variation within Europe.
Exactly. But then you look at the rest of Europe category. This is mostly Eastern and Central Europe. And that segment shows surprisingly strong growth, over 7% CAGR. It suggests that as disposable incomes rise and, modern beauty trends take hold in these areas, foam hair dye is becoming a really popular, accessible option. Convenience wins again.
All right, makes sense. You called North America solid, Europe expanding. What about Asia Pacific? The report flags this as the real speed demon, right? Among the bigger regions, at least. Fastest acceleration. Sales jumping from around $336 million in 2021, projected to clear $720 million by 2033. And that's powered by a CAGR of almost 6.75%. Pretty impressive.
Well, it's incredibly dynamic, and the why behind it is quite clear from the data. India actually leads the pack within Asia-Pacific. Its CAGR is the highest there, over 7.5%, followed very closely by Singapore, around 7.3%, and then the broader Southeast Asia region at 7.1%.
Wow.
Yeah. And this kind of really fast growth often points to a few key things: rapid urbanization, large young populations, and just a growing interest in personal care, in aesthetics. Consumers in these areas are often, quick to adopt new, convenient beauty tech. Now, while those countries have the highest growth rates, China and Japan still have very large market shares. Over $142 million, so big presence, continued adoption.
Okay, so Asia Pacific is definitely a region to watch. Let's shift south now. South America also showing considerable growth. The market there expanding from about $122 million in 2021, projected to hit $266 million by 2033. And the CAGR there is strong too, nearly 6.9%.
Yes, and what's interesting within South America, Argentina stands out. Its HEJI is impressive, over 7.4%. And the rest of South America's segment is also growing fast, over 7.2%. This really points towards, well, evolving beauty standards, maybe increasing access to these kinds of convenient, slightly more premium at-home products across more of the continent. Brazil, though, remains the single largest market in the region by far, projected at over $80 million by 2033. Its size means it contributes a lot, even if its own growth rate isn't quite as high as, say, Argentina's right now.
Got it. Okay, then we have the Middle East, also growing, but maybe not quite as fast, expanding from about $63 million in 2021 to nearly $110 million by 2033. The CGR there is more moderate, yeah, around 4.4%.
That's right, more moderate compared to some of the others we've discussed, but you still see countries like the UAE leading the growth there, with a rate over 5.5%. In Saudi Arabia, Egypt, Qatar, they're showing steady increases too. So I think the insight here is even with maybe a slower overall adoption curve, you've still got factors like a growing middle class and changing beauty norms, creating consistent demand for these convenient products.
Okay. Now, you mentioned Asia Pacific was the speed demon, but hold on. There's one region that the report highlights as, well, truly standing out. Prepare yourselves for this one, listeners. It's actually Africa. Africa boasts the highest KGR globally, an incredible 9.87%, expanding its market from around $31 million in 2021 to a projected $92 million by 2033. That's nearly tripling.
It's a remarkable surge, absolutely. And it really underscores a major emerging market narrative. The rest of Africa segment, so countries beyond the larger named ones, is growing at an astounding 10.27% CGR, just huge. Alongside that, you have South Africa with over 9.5% CGR, and Nigeria also around 9.6%. Very strong performances.
So what's driving that explosive growth in Africa?
Well, the report connects it to some fundamental shifts. Things like rapidly rising disposable incomes in many areas, a growing awareness and interest in personal grooming, modern beauty standards, and specifically the popularity of these easy-to-use phone products among younger consumers who are looking for convenience and the latest solutions. It's almost like, you know how mobile phones leapfrog landlines in many parts of Africa? It feels a bit like that here. Consumers are jumping straight to the most modern, convenient hair color format. It reflects broader economic and social changes.
Wow. That's a fantastic insight. So, okay, let's try and pull this all together. Looking back at this deep dive, it's just abundantly clear that the global foam hair dye market is changing fast, pretty much everywhere. It's been really fascinating tracking that growth across the map.
It really has. And the main themes, the overarching drivers, they seem pretty consistent, right?
Yeah.
You've got the constant product innovation, making things easier, the impact of more people living in cities, shifting ideas about beauty worldwide, and just this strong consumer pull towards effective, easy DIY hair color. But the key distinction, I think, is seeing how mature markets like North America and Europe show that steady, solid growth, still expanding. While the emerging markets, particularly in Asia Pacific, South America, and especially Africa, they're really setting the pace for the next decade. You see these really strong growth projections, rapidly expanding consumer bases, just eager for these modern, convenient options.
It's incredible, isn't it, how a seemingly specific product like phone hair dye can actually hold up a mirror to these huge global economic and social trends. It really makes you think, what other products that seem kind of niche might be quietly booming in different parts of the world, often for reasons that go way beyond just the product itself.
Exactly. And that actually raises a really important question, maybe something for you to think about. As this drive for convenience and effective at-home solutions keeps reshaping industries, which other everyday products, things we might not even think about, could be poised for similarly explosive, but maybe less obvious, regional growth in the next 10 years or so?
A great question to leave you with. That wraps up this deep dive. We hope you found it as interesting as we did, and we encourage you keep exploring these fascinating trends shaping our world. Sometimes they show up in the most unexpected places.
Have you ever, maybe, grabbed a box of foam hair dye off the shelf? Perhaps you were in a bit of a rush thinking, yeah, this looks easy enough. It's
Mhm.
everywhere now. But how much do we really know about the market behind it? That's actually pretty dynamic.
It really is.
So today, we're doing a deep dive. We're looking into this, well, surprisingly complex and fast-moving world of the foam hair dye market.
Yep.
Our mission, really, is to pull out the key bits of info for you from a detailed market report. Basically a shortcut so you're totally up to speed on this kind of revolutionary part of at-home hair color.
And what's really interesting, I think, is how this specific market foam dye sort of reflects these much bigger shifts happening, in how we shop and what we expect from the beauty industry overall.
Okay?
As we go through the report, you'll see how things like convenience and the constant push for new stuff are really driving things.
Right.
So for this deep dive, we'll look at what's pushing the growth, what's holding it back, the hurdles, and the really exciting trends that are shaping where it's going. It should help you connect the dots, see why foam dye is, well, more than just a fad.
All right. Let's unpack this then. The report says pretty clearly that people wanting convenience and something easy to use is a major growth driver.
Mm-hmm.
But it's more than just easy, isn't it? Like, what specific things about the application does the report really focus on? What makes foam stand out?
Yeah, it's not just easy. It's more about getting like salon-level results accessible to everyone.
Ah, okay.
The report flags things like it being mess-free, giving really even coverage, and, the ability to get a professional-looking finish without needing a salon appointment, or the cost.
Right, skipping the salon visit entirely.
Exactly. And this whole do-it-yourself thing, it's really caught on. Lots of different age groups are into it, especially in cities.
Urban areas, yeah. Time is tight there.
Totally. And what's kind of amazing is that people, particularly in places like, say, big Asian cities or North American metro areas, they're getting a finish they used to think only a pro could deliver.
Wow.
And they're doing it at home,
What?
in their own bathroom.
That's a huge shift in what consumers expect, isn't it?
It really is.
And you mentioned global markets. The report also talks about broader industry stuff influencing this, right?
Mhm.
How does the growth in the wider beauty and personal care world feed into this specific foam dye boom?
Oh, absolutely. It's like totally connected. The whole global beauty market is expanding, and that naturally pulls up demand for new, innovative ways to color hair.
Makes sense.
Especially in places like Asia Pacific and North America. Consumers there seem really open to trying new things, new product types.
Mm-hmm.
And another critical piece is just, well, getting your hands on the stuff. Availability, it's much wider now.
Oh, so
Well, you've got the boom in online shopping, right? Plus, it's still strong in regular stores. That combination has pushed foam dye way out there into developed markets, sure, but also into like semi-urban areas too. So it's not just that the product is good, it's that you can actually find it pretty much everywhere.
that wide availability. Yeah, it sounds pretty positive for the market.
Yeah.
But, nothing's ever perfect. There must be challenges, right?
Yeah.
What did the report say were the main limitations or concerns? What's holding it back a bit?
Yeah, definitely hurdles exist. A big one is the risk of allergic reactions,
Mm.
chemical sensitivities.
Ah, right, the ingredient.
Exactly. Things like ammonia, peroxide, common in many dyes, they can cause irritation for people with sensitive skin.
Mm-hmm.
And what the report really flagged as worrying is that this problem gets worse because a lot of people just don't know about patch testing or they don't bother.
So they skip that crucial safety step.
Yeah. Even when the product is designed to be super easy to use, people often overlook that basic safety check. That's a real concern.
Okay, so the chemical aspect is still a barrier, even with the easier format. Are there other limits, like specific to the foam product itself?
Yes, definitely. Another challenge is the range of shades available.
Fewer colors.
Generally, yeah. Compared to traditional liquid or cream dyes, there just aren't as many options sometimes. So if you want a really bold color or something very specific and personalized, foam might not cut it.
That could be a deal breaker for some people.
It absolutely can be. They want that unique look, and the foam options might feel a bit limited. And then there are other issues, particularly in, say, developing regions.
Like what?
Things like just lower awareness. People in rural areas might not even know about foam dye, or they might be hesitant to try it. Price can be a big factor too, price sensitivity, and sometimes there just isn't enough education from the brands about how to use it properly, so it's kind of complicated.
Those are definitely significant hurdles.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's shift gears and look forward. What about the promising trends? What's really shaping the future of this market, according to the report? What are the big forces?
Well, the report points to three main things driving the future. First, there's this growing move among consumers towards health and natural ingredients.
Okay, the clean beauty idea.
Exactly. People are actively looking for ammonia-free options, organic formulas. They weren't what the report calls clean label options.
Which you?
Basically, products with fewer synthetic chemicals, maybe with more natural oils or herbal extracts included. It fits that broader trend of people wanting to know what's in their products and preferring less harsh stuff.
Yeah, that totally makes sense, especially thinking about the allergy concerns you just mentioned.
Yeah.
Okay, what's the second trend?
Second is personalization. That's becoming huge.
How does that work with foam dye?
Well, kits are starting to offer more customizable options, things like tools to mix colors or specific post-color treatments tailored to your needs.
Ah, so more control for the user.
Precisely, and this really appeals to, Gen Z and millennials. They value expressing themselves creatively and having control over how they look.
It's like the brands are realizing everyone wants to be their own stylist now,
Right.
especially with social media.
You nailed it. It's like giving them the tools to be their own beauty guru right there at home, which kind of leads into the third trend.
Let me guess, social media.
Bingo. The third, and maybe the most powerful trend, is the massive influence of social media marketing and celebrity endorsements too, but especially influencers.
How so?
You see beauty influencers, YouTubers, TikTok creators, they're making incredibly popular videos, tutorials showing how to use the foam dye, dramatic before and after transformations, honest reviews.
Right, you see those everywhere.
And that generates huge engagement. It boosts brand visibility like crazy, and it builds trust in a way traditional ads maybe don't anymore. It's like this very visual, very powerful word of mouth happening online. People feel connected to these creators.
Wow. Okay, this has been really insightful, a proper deep dive into the foam hair dye scene. We've gone from how the products themselves are changing and easier to get, looked at the hurdles like chemical issues and color limits, and now these big trends like natural ingredients, personalization, and that huge digital influence. Yeah. Definitely sounds like the future for this market is, well, pretty colorful and full of potential.
Yeah, what really jumps out is how directly what consumers want is driving all this innovation. This market is a great example, I think, of how fast industries can pivot, how they adapt to our changing lifestyles, and how they use tech like e-commerce and social media. It's not just about reaching people anymore. It's about changing how people even interact with the product itself.
It really makes you think. Beyond just hair dye, where else are we seeing this kind of revolution in our at-home experiences?
Yeah.
And as convenience and personalization keep pushing forward, what other, maybe unexpected challenges or innovations might be just around the corner? Definitely something for you to think about until our next deep dive.